What's up, fellas? Blue Dream MMA here. We're back for another video. UFC Louisville just concluded last night. It was an okay card overall, except for the main card, which was mostly nothing but finishes, except for the first fight. And something even better than the main card that happened. He fucking made it. He did it, guys. He finally did it. Dominick Reyes, the Dominator, has finally came back and got a W. Finally managed to come back and win. Get a knockout after 5 years. A big 5-year drought. When the last time that he won was in 2019, you guys. He's finally back. He knocked out Dustin Jacoby last night. And honestly, I personally felt like Dustin Jacoby was going to be able to KO Dominick Reyes after all his performances ever since the John Jones fight. And honestly, it looked that way. It did look that way until he landed that. He got pushed to the cage. You know, it looks like Dustin Jacoby was landing a few shots and he got a little eager. And what happened is, you already know that left hand, baby. He landed that left hand, left straight to the jaw of Dustin Jacoby, rocked him, got in the attack and finished him. Beautiful, amazing fight. Lasted under 2 minutes. Amazing. I was really happy to see Dominick Reyes finally get a win. You know, when he first got into the UFC, he got on a big run, a major run where he beat Jared Cannonier, Auvin Saint-Preux, Volkan Ozdemir, and Chris, the All-American white man, back to back. He really did that, and honestly, it was amazing to see. Then he got offered the John Jones fight. By the way, all these fights finished him by KO except for Auvin Saint-Preux. Then he got into the John Jones fight. Guys, to this day, whenever I hear people talk about the John Jones fight and Dominick Reyes, it's about how John robbed him, or how the judges robbed Dominick Reyes of the greatest moment of his life. He could have became a champion, and who the hell knows what would have happened following that. Honestly, he gave John Jones the hardest fight, I would say, aside from the Gustafsson fight. And yeah, seriously, Dominick Reyes on that night was one of the greatest fighters I've ever seen. And personally, I don't agree that he won the fight. I still think that John Jones won. I'm probably one of the only ones that feel that way, but I do feel that way. I really felt like it was a 3-2. I will need to rewatch the fight to give you all my rounds. I don't remember. I haven't watched it in years, but I still think that John Jones won that shit. But it is what it is. The issue is that Dominick Reyes clung to that fight. He really clung to the potential W, and to the fact that people were calling him the people's champion, and how the fans were rallying for that victory, you know. Then he went on to face Jan Blachowicz, who became the next champion because of how he knocked him out. It was a pretty gnarly fight. He then got finished by after being finished by Jan Blachowicz by KO, he got spinning elbowed by Jiří Procházka. I think the Jan Blachowicz, the John Jones fight took some from him. You know, he was overconfident after that. What the Jan Blachowicz fight did is it took his confidence away from him. That's what I felt like as a fan. And the Jiří Procházka lost, to me, took his soul, bro. Like, it was so hard to see as a MMA fan. I know for all of us here, we like Dominick Reyes. I don't know a single person that dislikes Dominick Reyes. He's such a cool guy, good fighter, and a really exciting dude to watch, you know. And to just see him get spinning elbowed like that by a new guy You know, Yuri Prochazka at the time, I think it was his first fight in the UFC. We had no clue who the dude was, and what he did to Dominick Reyes was crazy. Although Dominick Reyes was looking pretty good in that fight. It's from looking at that fight that I made my prediction that Pereira was gonna knock him out in the second round. It's not a video, of course, so take it how you want, trust me or not. But the fight that he had versus Yuri Prochazka showed me holes in Yuri Prochazka's game, you know, and I guess that's a good thing. After being having his damn near his soul taken away from him, he went and fought Ryan Spann, who knocked him out in the first two. Like, guys, to get beat by Ryan Spann, not saying that Ryan Spann is a bad fighter. He is a good fighter, but to get beat by Ryan Spann tells a lot. And I really thought that Dominick Reyes was done after the Ryan Spann fight, seeing him get knocked out like that. But none of that shit matters. He took a long break, damn near 2 years, and then he went on to face Dustin Jacoby, who's been knocked out a few times. He lost his last fight by KO. But Dominick too. I mean, he lost 3 fights in a row by KO, you know. And I really did have it for Dustin Jacoby. I thought Dustin was gonna do some bad things to him. And guys, although it was looking that way at first, that's not what happened, man. It's just good to see. It's really good to see Dominick Reyes back like that and doing great work. He's been saying that he's not just back, but that he's better. And let's talk about that. From what I saw last night, I don't know if I would say that he's better. It's probably better as a martial artist. He's definitely smarter. He knows the mistakes that cost him in his previous fights. So it's definitely better in the head, like knowledge-wise and stuff. Athletically, is he better? That's a different conversation for another day. I don't think he is. I think that the Dominick Reyes from 5 years ago, with today's knowledge of what he knows now, would be much better, you know. But let's still test the theory, you know. Let's see if we can get him on a little run, you know. I want to see him win for sure. I want to keep seeing Dominick Reyes win. It would be amazing to see him become a champion as well. And he's still in the top 15. Because as you saw, like the guys that he beat before fighting John Jones are pretty big names. But let's match him up. Let's match him up for the fights coming up to see if it's really better than what he has been in the past 5 years. Because, like I said, 2019 Dominick Reyes is one of the greatest fighters I've seen. His fight versus John Jones was amazing. It was one of the closest I've seen in a title fight, especially against John Jones. Now, I want to get him on a little run. The first fighter that I would like to see him fight is the Anthony Smith doppelganger. I don't know how we say that. How do you say doppelganger? I think it is doppelganger. I want to see him versus Bogdan Guskov. I would like to see that fight. Guskov is one of these Russian dudes who does not wrestle one bit. He goes out there, throws strikes, throws left hands and right hands. He's just throwing big hooks, some jabs, but he's a really aggressive fighter that likes to come forward and throw shots. That's who he is. He's the complete opposite of Anthony Smith. What he does on the feet, that's what Anthony Smith tries to do on the ground. Although he looks exactly like the dude. I would like to see the fight versus Dominick Reyes. I do think that Dominick Reyes has an advantage. I think that Guskov is a little overrated. For a second, we thought that he was the upgraded version of Anthony Smith. When you see his fights, he's not. Anthony Smith is definitely the better version of the two guys. I think that Anthony Smith is the ultimate Anthony Smith. I would like to see that fight though. Now, next up, I will be really interested in the Dominick Reyes versus the actual Anthony Smith as well. Let me know what you think about that. Personally, I think that this is a really intriguing fight. Anthony Smith got absolutely ragdolled by John Jones, but John could not finish him, and that was 5 years ago as well. And now you got Dominick Reyes with all the power in the world, energy revigorated, confidence back up. I would like to see this. He could get finished. He could get subbed by Anthony Smith, and he could knock him out as well. What do you think happens in that fight? And for the last one, I want to see the Dominator versus the loser of Carlos Ulberg versus Jamal Hill. You guys, that's a good fight. I don't care who you are, what you know about the game. You cannot convince me that this is not a good fight. Either of the guys, him versus Jamal Hill, is a really intriguing fight. They're gonna be two lefties out there throwing heat. Jamal is definitely the better boxer. Dominick Reyes. I reckon he doesn't have a lot of weapons for Jamal Hill, but his left hand, the power, the speed that goes with that straight shot could be an issue, especially since Jamal Hill just got KO'd by Pereira like a few months ago. Not to mention the fact that whoever loses that fight more than likely loses it by knockout. So the chin will be a little softened up even more. Facing versus Dominick Reyes also has a pretty suspect chin. And now the other potential fighter, of course, is Carlos Ulberg. Carlos Ulberg is leagues ahead of Dominick Reyes when you talk about striking, pure striking. But I do know that Ulberg has a lot of holes in his game, a lot of holes in that chin. He leaves it pretty open, pretty high. And although he's really accurate with his shots, he's faster than Dominick Reyes and more technical, more tactical, more everything when it comes to the feet. I do think that Dominick Reyes is a more defensively responsible guy. Although he's not really responsible defensively, I know that Carlos Ulberg isn't at all. Carlos Ulberg, like I said, chin up in the air, uses head movement that is not that great, but he's so fast and so, like, his punches are so piston-like and so powerful that it doesn't matter. He knocks you out fast or he dominates you the whole time. But he's pretty hittable if you know what you're doing. And I think Dominick Reyes is a guy that knows what he's doing. And that's the last fight that I would like to see. The loser of Hill and Carlos Ulberg. And not to mention, if he beats Hill, assuming that Hill loses his next fight, dude, you got Dominick Reyes right up in there. He's a contender again. That's it. And so basically, that's my video. Let me know what you think about it. How you feel about Dominick Reyes finally coming back. And I'll catch you in the next video, man. Peace out, cause I'm out. Deuces.